are tuned in to the Dark Monarchy update, brought to you by Riffical Records. Greetings, friends. Mark Anthony K here, and we are back. That's right, the Dark Monarchy are back. We are getting ready to do a new record, and of course, with me on screen is my partner in crime, Mr. Joe Bailey. How are you, sir?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you?
I'm very good. Right here in Canada, we are currently going through our lockdown situation, so there isn't much to do except write music. So what better time to make a new record? How are you guys over there?
I'm in the same position. We're also in lockdown as well. So it's back to square one. So yeah, like you say, plenty of time to get music written.
Yeah, so for those of you who might be new to this channel or might be new to Dark Monarchy, we already have one record that came out of full length, the self-titled Dark Monarchy, which is a very good record, which was heralded quite well by people in the media and stuff like that. So we were very pleased with it. So we're looking forward to moving forward and going on with another record. But just to keep people, or to give people a bit of an update, during the time that this album came out and now, as people probably know, I've worked on my own Project Gemini stuff, put out a couple of things. So Joe, what happened in the time in between now and this new upcoming record?
So I already had a lot of my next solo album written. Throughout, it's been done for, well, since October probably. It's been mixed and mastered and ready to go. We're just having a bit of trouble getting out and about doing. The idea was to do a promotional music video along with the release of the album, which unfortunately was impossible to get done. I mean, me and Steve met up a few times during, when the lockdown had eased, and we got some stuff done for the video, but it just isn't happening at the moment. So Steve is currently working on plan B for the music video. He's going to make it himself at his home. It's like a stop animation type of video, so that should be interesting to see. And then we just got to do the album cover, which we won't be able to get done until lockdown's eased. So I don't know when the album's going to be out, if I'm honest.
Okay.
Could be months.
Well, we'll get into that more later, as we will discuss a bit of your solo record later on. But that's okay. obviously during this time in between, it has taken up a lot of your time as far as what you've done in between, right?
Yeah, but I've been writing non-stop throughout the whole process anyway, regardless of what it was for. I've always got ideas, so I'm always writing them down.
Great. So that was, for me, that was very great to hear, because when I was done and ready to start work on the next Dark Monarchy record, it was good to know that you were, as I like to call it, warmed up. You know what I mean? Because sometimes people have this thing where they write a record and then they're done and they're like, yay, and then they don't do anything for months and months, and then they have to go back and start writing, and they're like, wow, it's like getting on a bicycle again. You know how to do it, but you're a little rusty at first, and it's like, oh, this first song kind of sucks, so you have to kind of get back into the flow of stuff again. So luckily for both of us, we've been writing quite a bit. I mean, I was just doing a bunch of stuff for Dark Monarchy, well, for Project Gemini, and then now into Dark Monarchy. So speaking of Dark Monarchy, let's talk a little bit about what's been going on with us with this new stuff. So as people know, we have a way of writing songs where we each decide to start writing, let's say, 4 songs each, and we each start writing the opening, let's say 3, maybe 4 minutes if we're lucky, of a song, and then we pass it on to the next person, and the person completes it. So last time when we did this, we had about 6 or 7 songs that we started that way. This time I'm pleased to say we have a bit more. I think we have about 8 songs going at this point, almost 9, I think, songs going. So we have quite a bit of material going. So what are your first impressions of some of these songs that you're hearing?
Yeah, they're all really good. It sounds new and fresh, but it's also very, very familiar sounding as well, which is nice. It's kind of like a more like an upgraded version of the first album, I think, so far.
Yeah, I mean, what I really like about it is there's some aspects of it that are a bit different. I think on my end of things, I think, and also on your end of things too, some of the drumming is a little bit more upbeat. There's a bit more like double kick in spots, and there's it just seems like there's a bit more. It's a bit more driving, but we also have some really cool kind of mid-tempo stuff in there as well. That always sounds good when we do it. Gives it that sort of epic feel, and of course your keyboard stuff, like some of the kind of ARP sounds and the things that you do, your string stuff is always fantastic, and that's one of the things that I'm always pleased about. That's what I think is sort of our sound, is we have that sort of grandiose orchestration stuff going on, which I was very happy to hear again. So just for those tech heads that are out there who are listening, anything that you've gotten new as far as programs for this stuff? Is there anything that's kind of caught your ear? You said, hey, I got to use this for the Dark Monarchy stuff.
Not really. I'm using pretty much the same stuff I was using last time. The only difference being I've now got a subscription to Composer Cloud, which is East West's. It's their whole back catalogue, every library they've ever done, available to download, which has got a couple of cool synths on it, which I have been using, like Stephen Wilson's Ghostwriter, for instance. There's a lot of like really dark sounds on there, so I've put some of them into some of the newer stuff which you haven't heard yet. But obviously the strings will be different as well, because there's a lot more orchestral sounds on there than what I was using previously. Yeah,
which is fantastic. And one of the things that I found that was interesting is when I sent you the finished version of one of the songs. I believe it was I think it was my first one that I had given you. You mentioned that you asked me if I had any kind of new keyboards or something, because you said the sounds were a bit different, which was great to hear, because I still have the same sort of keyboard setup. I got my EX7, I got my Gaia, and I got my Novation. But what I did is I kind of went in a little bit more in detail with them this time, kind of like looked into it more. And also I started using more kind of plugins in conjunction with it. So I kind of found some really odd phaser pedal like things, and some odd delay, like really long, like ambient delays. So they kind of added a bit to the sounds, and and also some EQing, also brought in or out some of the extra sounds of the strings or stuff like that I use. So, I think there's a bit more experimenting on my end, and probably obviously on your end as well this time around. So it's almost like the first album was like, let's see what we can come up with. And now with the second record, we know what we can do, but we're trying to take it a step further.
Yeah, certainly with my composing anyway, it's definitely, I've just haven't stuck to any formula whatsoever. I've just gone in and just written what was in my head and then sent it to you, and it seems to be working out pretty nicely.
Yeah, I'm very happy with it so far. I mean, I think we're going to do is going to turn out great. One thing I'm excited about, probably more than enough music for a record, and we'll have available extra stuff for whatever we want to do, like another record store day thing again. If we wanted to do an extra unannounced non-album song that we can put out for whatever occasion, we'll be able to do that, which is always fantastic to be able to do that. Question for you again, which I'm always interested about. Obviously, I think your 6-string bongo bass is going to be in full effect on this record.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
Great.
That's other than the fretless, that's the only bass I own now, because it's the only bass I need. It's got everything I need from it.
Yeah, it's a great sound. I mean, I'm always, every time I get it. So one thing that I always found rather interesting is, as people might or may not know, Joe also appeared on my last Project Gemini album, and he played bass on two songs, I believe, this time. And every time I get his bass, there's never really much that I need to do. I mean, sometimes I get bass players sounds and you have to trim here, maybe there's a little bit too much low mid and this and that. The bongo sounds really good. I mean, I'm not sure what your magic trick is for recording, but your bass sounds are always very easy to work with.
Yeah, there's not really much of a trick, to be quite honest. To just adjust the settings on there, and then I put it through a compressor. That's it.
Well, then that's the sign of a great bass. That's definitely for sure. So the next thing that I'm going to be curious about, is, and I mean, obviously we probably can't answer this in any sort of great detail now, but there's always the question of lyrics and what's the topics going to be like this time around. I'm guessing that we're going to have a lot to talk about again with the world that's surrounding us now. I'm guessing that that'll be probably a lot of the fuel for the lyrics.
Probably, yeah. I mean, it's just easy to write about what's happening now, isn't it? Because it's fresh in your mind. Generally, I tend to write a lot of lyrics about similar subjects because they're the things that I feel strongly about. So yeah, probably I'll try and sort of mix it up a bit this time. I think.
Well, hey, look at. I've always taken the approach that, write what comes natural. Don't force anything, because you can always tell when something's forced. And so far, your lyrics have been excellent. One thing that I'd like to hopefully do this time is the last record. I think I added lyrics for maybe like one song and maybe a little bit here and there. I'd like to maybe try to at least chip in a little bit more this time lyrically. But of course, hey, I've always been of the thinking that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So if you're on a roll and lyrics are coming to you, hey, I'm not going to stand in the way to it. The only thing I'm hoping that I can do again is, add in the vocal area, whether it's, add some backing vocals or whatever. But, I'd like to be a little bit more vocally in it this time, which I don't think you have an issue with.
No, not at all. As far as the lyrics are concerned, with the last album, it's very, very rare for me to be on a roll with lyrics because I don't genuinely like writing lyrics, to be quite honest. But it's just the last time everything was just it was just flowing out. So that's why I kind of took over a bit on the lyrics last time. But yeah, I think probably a joint effort would go down best for this new album. Yeah.
Great. So it sounds like everything's on the same page and everything's going to go rather smoothly. I believe it's going to go very nicely with this new record. Now, speaking of records, another thing that's come up is I've been discussing online on the Dark Monarchy Facebook page there that people have been asking me for quite a while now about why isn't there a vinyl release of the first record? I love the first record. I'd love to get it on vinyl. Why? So it looks like I found a pretty cool company. I believe it's in America that does sort of like a funding sort of idea where, a band comes in, says they want to make a vinyl. They pick between 50, I think is the minimum, to whatever, like 500 or whatever. And once you assign the number that you want to make, let's say 80 records, they set up a sort of pre-order campaign. And I believe it's either 2 or 3 weeks they give you. There's like a timer on the page. And then if you get enough pre-orders, like let's say you pick 80 and 80 people buy it, they press the record for you, as exactly as you want it with the same artwork. Like we would send them all the high res stuff like this and that. They would make it. The only thing I think Steve might need to do is maybe make like a sort of center label for vinyl for us. That's probably the only thing he would need to do. And then after that, the great thing about this company is that once they press it, they send it to all the people who've purchased it. So none of that has to be done by us. So that's a great thing. So it looks like it's going to happen. So for all of you who've been wondering, it looks like it's going to happen. Now, the thing that we just have to figure out is when are we going to start doing the pre-order for that. The main thing why I'm kind of wondering about that is because I'm also starting a vinyl pre-order for my Project Gemini album, and I don't want them to kind of interfere with one another, right? Because then, people may not have money for both, and I don't want either one to suffer, right? But so people know it is going to happen. This on vinyl is going to be a certainty now. So I'm very excited about that. I know Joe is too, because he really liked the way this album turned out, as I did, of course, too. So I'm guessing that you're looking forward to this on vinyl finally.
Yes, this will be my first release on vinyl as well. So,
yeah,
it's exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know the first time I got my stuff put on vinyl, I was like, wow, this is just to hold it was like something that you never thought you would be able to do, unless you were with some big major label or something, right? So
yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that. So that answers that question, and I hope that people will be excited about it. I mean, the reaction on the pages were great. I mean, I don't know if you saw, Joe, but there been quite a few people that said, hey, if you're doing it, I'm in.
Yeah,
Lots of people were saying it. So, and the great thing was even a few of the people that I know who live in Australia they were all over it. And the thing where I'm always surprised about that is the shipping to them is always so astronomical. It's a wonder they want to order anything. You know what I mean? So it's unbelievable. So I'm very pleased about that.
Yeah,
So
yeah, it's great news.
yeah, absolutely. So we will keep you all informed about that. I'm sure both me and Joe will probably put up some posts whenever we get more information about that for all of you guys to step up and do it. And just to let you know as well, Joe, of late I've been getting at least 1 or 2 orders every day for this now, the CD. So I'm having to start packing this up again, and a lot of it is in Germany. I've had like 3 or 4 German orders, 2 Switzerland orders. So this is very good. So it's starting to pick up steam mainly in Europe, obviously. So that's good news. So before we end off our little segment, I wanted to also talk a little bit about your solo record, Joe, that we've just talked about at the beginning there. So I'm sure lots of people are wondering about this record, because lots of people are into your music, which I know about. Let's talk a little bit about the music. What do you think this album is like in comparison to prior work?
I think probably A Price to Pay is the closest in terms of sound. I don't know, maybe a cross between A Price to Pay and Less Than Nothing, but I don't know. I know it's kind of it's a bit more stripped back compared to Less Than Nothing. I think that was a full blown thing, wasn't it? That was a bit over the top, that album. I think it's more like A Price to Pay. It's nice and short as well. It's only 40 odd minutes, so it's unusual for me, that.
I think I'm rubbing off on you a bit with this sort of idea of keeping records between 40 and 45 minutes there,
Yeah.
But the one thing that I've been fortunate about is, me and Joe, since we're such good friends now, he allowed me to listen to this whole record, the complete record, and I have to say it's tremendous. It's a fantastic record. I've listened to it quite a bit, actually, and one thing I've noticed about it is I've noticed that you've kind of stretched out a bit vocally on this. Like there's that song, I'm trying to remember the title of it, but you have a line in there that says "Waiting for the right moment." You sing that part, "Waiting for the right moment," and that voice on that is really, really low compared to some of the voices that I've heard you singing before. It's very interesting.
It's not all just my voice. There's a lot of effects on there as well. So some of it's pitch shifting down an octave. So that might be. I can get that low, but it doesn't sound as good as what it does on the record. Yeah.
Well, that's great. So in other words, then your production skills have obviously taken another step up, because obviously it sounds fantastic. A lot of great guitar playing on this too. I think that your guitar playing has definitely stepped up a notch or two on this record. So anything else you think that might be worth noting? I mean, obviously your guitar playing is something to make note of. What else do you think has kind of improved or changed since the last couple of records?
Yeah, certainly the guitar playing, because I don't know whether my guitar playing is improved. I just think I just put more effort into my playing this time. And a lot of the solos on this album are bits where I've had lyrics written, and then I've decided against the lyrics, so I'll put a guitar solo in there instead. That's generally how it went. But I'm glad it worked out that way, because it's about time I showed off a bit with my lead work anyway.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't know. Maybe practice makes perfect. I think with every album, my sound improves. It just gets easier to mix with every album, doesn't it?
Yeah. So I know before you gave us a quick little show of your studio one time when we did this before, and you had a really nice Schecter guitar, and I've also remember that you had a picture up of a new 8-string guitar that you had recently gotten. Has this new guitar appeared on this record?
No, not on this record. It has appeared on an album that me and Steve are making for TWJ. So there's a lot of low distorted guitars there. So it appears on that, but just not on my stuff. I just don't think my music warrants it. I don't think it needs it.
Yeah, it's kind of like how people ask me, well, how come you never use any 7-string guitars? Well, like, it just doesn't seem to fit the music that I write. You know what I mean? So if it did, then I would do it, right? But I mean, I'm very happy with my 6-string and my whole step down tuning to D, right? So it seems to work out fine, and that's what seems to work right now. Okay, great. So that's a quick update for you guys about what's been going on with me and Joe. And yeah, I'm very sure that from here on in, we're going to try to at least, do a video update, every couple of weeks. For sure, I'll try to do one every week. Hopefully, I can try to get Joe in and a couple more of them with us. We'll organize that and keep you guys afloat on what we're going to be doing and keep you updated on our progress of our new record. So thank you all for watching. And if you want to say bye, Joe, we'll take it from here.
Yeah. Thanks for watching. See you soon.
All right. Great. And we will talk to you all very soon. So take care, my friends.